Hey, how are you? Yeah. Mhm. So, hello, everybody. I am Mindy Doherty, and I am a huge advocate for, I'm like the people's advocate, basically. So, I do advocate for veterans a lot, and then women as well, and then people in general, and then kids, because right now there's a lot of stuff going on that where human trafficking and sex trafficking is going on right in our back doors. And I live in a state where I never would have thought that literally my back door has a pathway to go straight to, and it's like the number one or number two of the highest for sex trafficking right now. And it makes my stomach ill. So when I found this out, it kind of got me angry. Actually, I found this out 2 years ago. And with COVID happening, it was almost as if it was an excuse for people to shut their eyes. And then when I found that out, it almost lit a fire under my feet because I was like, you know what? If people are going to be quiet, I'm just going to get louder. Let them stay quiet. And I just got louder and louder, and people were like, okay, 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 I get it. And I'm like, do you really get it? Are you sure you get it? Are you gonna come with me now? They're like, okay, let's join in. Let's figure this out. I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. And then at first, I just had my adult, resilient warrior. And then what I had figured out in my mind was, let me go back to my childhood and really dive into like what happened. Because when I was younger, I was about 4.5 years old, turning 5 years old, and we were sitting in an apartment building because we were broke as a joke. And so my friend, there was a guy who got through the fence line and approached us, and he said, hey, I lost some puppies, can you help me find them? My mom drilled this in my head with America's Most Wanted when we were watching that show, is don't ever go with anybody looking for puppies and candy, because she knew I loved candy. And I was like, you got candy, I'm going. You hear the bells for the fire or the little truck. ice cream truck, I'm coming. So she was always bringing out scenarios and stuff like that. And I was really grateful that she actually did because he was asking us, and I told her multiple times, like, please don't go, don't do this. My mom said not to do this. And she's like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And at that point, even at that age, I knew that it was wrong. But she went and I went and told my mom immediately what happened. And my mom said, let's go to the store and let's get out of here for a little bit because she knew I was upset. And when we got back, there was a plethora of cops. So she was kidnapped and murdered. And so for me, and really gnarly sexually abused. And so the way that she was, the conditions that she was found, it's one of those things where you can never forget ever. So I wanted to go back to that and really figure out, like, what can I do to have parents especially open up conversations with their children. So then I created lessons in this children's book, thinking like, oh, I'm just going to try to do this, and then I experienced so much like processing issues when I was younger because I got, a lot of trauma. And then unfortunately, I have my own, like, I'm an incest survivor, and my brother used to like beat me until I couldn't walk and different things, tried to drown me, all sorts of other things that had happened that I write about. And so I wanted to make sure that people understood, like, I had struggles with reading. So I wanted the lessons to be throughout and not just have to figure it out at the end because I don't understand page to page. So I wanted the lessons to appear as they go. And that would help police officers also when they pick the kids up, or people for my adult book. But the children's book, it would basically open up the conversation for when they're about to get interviewed. And it would calm their nervous system down because when you're giving them something to read, it's almost like a gift. So it gives them a way to be happy, just even for a moment before they're diving into the story, or even afterwards when they've dived into their story and they're traumatized, really, or they're crying or they're going through some stuff. And then we give them this book and they can look at it, and even if they can't read, or somebody reads it to them, there's lessons in there that basically human nature, don't steal, how to create a win-win. And the most important one that I teach parents and the police and the fire departments and anybody who gets my book is listen to your intuition. And that is even for me to remind myself, even up until today, like yesterday, I got approached virtually through, here through a photographer that wanted to take photos of me. And I've been taking photos since I was like, I think 3, I started. And the inappropriateness that had come out when I found out, like, he was grooming me little by little, and all these like red flags, just like little flags came up first. And I was like, that's interesting. What I found is I watched this guy, Gavin DeBecker from The Gift of Fear. And he said, anytime that you're like, that was off, or that's weird, that you should listen to that, because that's your intuition always speaking. And us as women, I tend to like just, oh, he's just being this way, or, oh, he's just being nice, or, oh, he's just joking. But then it got to the point where he was like, I want to take pictures of you, and I want you to be, basically it broke down to, he wanted me to do porn, video, nude, and then he wanted to touch me. And I was like, okay, all of those are a negative in this realm of mine. Like, I'm very clear about my boundaries, especially nowadays. I wasn't before. I used to get sucked in really fast, and it's almost like when you're in this abuse situation, and I think this is the most important thing that people understand with these Epstein files and stuff like that that's going on. And they're like, well, why would somebody do that? Like, how? It's almost like you're ingrained and trained. If you've been groomed since you were a child, it's almost like a robot, unfortunately. It's like a button just gets pushed, and all of a sudden you're like, do. Oh, you want me to take my clothes off? Oh, here we go. And then before you know it, you're doing all these things, and you're like, and later on you're going home, and then you just feel like so guilty, and you think, oh, I did something wrong, when really it's just old patterns that come up, and I really want people to understand that it's not your fault, when things happen, especially like when you're getting groomed, or if people assault you and stuff like that, and you had no idea that you were going in on a date, and then somebody decides to take the nth degree and do some things like put some stuff in your drinks, or put some stuff in your food. All of a sudden you're passed out with some GHB or some new stuff that's coming out, that's unreal. And then you're getting tied up, and then all of a sudden you have no way out, which I've been talking to other people about in their experiences that have happened to them. And I think it's imperative that we teach people those golden signs, that anytime that your intuition's speaking to you, that we just listen to that. And then we can teach other people, like, hey, if there's ever a point in time where you're like, that was off, run, walk away. And people think, oh, that's like so it's an exaggeration. No, not really. Because every time I haven't done that, something's gone wrong, and something's just not fitted in my own realm of personality. It's like, why did I do that? Like, how did this even come about? Like, what the heck did I just do? Sure. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, great. Nice. Right. Got to unite these people. Yeah. Right. And pedophiles. Yeah. Right. So we don't get taken down, because I've gotten taken down more than once. Yeah, right, right. Right. No, you have to. And so I think it's imperative that I come out and represent a whole beingness of, yes, this was my past, but that doesn't make me who I am today. And it won't dictate my future because a lot of people think, oh, this is what happened to me in my past. So this is destined for my future. No, just because all this stuff happened to me, I feel like I've been therapized, but there's always some more therapy I can do, right? So I do what I'm a Watsu practitioner as well. So I get people in the water, in warm water and like the hot springs, and do shiatsu massage in the water. So I work with people with PTSD, depression, anxiety, people that have had strokes, MS, spinal cord issues, people that have had severe intellectual disabilities, and pretty much anybody that's gone through trauma, because that's my biggest, like the people that I usually like to work with, because there's a plethora of other people that can work with people that have just had a little bit going on or like need counseling. So what I like to do is reset the nervous system anytime I can, try to help somebody like calm themselves down and realize that just because even the nightmares that people have and stuff like that, we can get them to calm down. And once you calm down that nervous system and you can reset it, then you can reset your future as well. So it's a stepping stone, really. It's going from your past, creating a ladder that basically helps you assist to get to the next point. And so if you have point A and you know where point A is, that's all you got to figure out. Where's point A? Then find your compass, which is the ladder, and then go to point B and figure out like, what is it that I can do to help you? To help you get over your stuff. If you need a resource, let me find you a resource. If I don't have the resource, I can reach out to the people that I know and find you a resource. Or if I'm not in your state, I've had other people that like want to travel to the state where I'm at and we figure it out. If I'm not available, then there's other things like equine therapy, gardening. I use gardening a lot because I used to teach one seed, one plant, and one garden at a time. And what that meant was literally going from your trauma, putting it into the plants that you have, making it so that you garden, then create more plants for your neighbors and for other people that aren't able to eat or aren't able to grow. So basically it was a concept, and then it got to Australia and then the UK and England, and it was called Feed My City. And it was just a little concept that I just thought of, and I wanted like 50 trees in the backyard, not knowing that so 400 square feet doesn't really do a lot. So I had all these trees, and I'm like, oh, none of them are growing because there's not enough space. Like I can't have an orchard. But other people got this concept and they started growing and they started bringing it into the grocery stores, food banks, different sponsored programs that help people eat, because that was important to me. If you don't have the right substance to eat, your brain isn't going to work. If your brain's not going to work, then I can talk to you all day and it's going to go in la la land. So we need to bring that back as well. And then for our children's sake, teaching them the principles and making sure that the parents understand what to do and have these open conversations so that some of this stuff doesn't happen. And then also as a veteran, my biggest deal right now is I want to get to the White House and help President Trump understand we need our medical changes right now. We are not getting the medical care that we need. Unfortunately, I was tortured for 4 straight months, as you know, like we've talked about this before, and it's in my book. It left me bedbound for 3 years and 8 months, but I couldn't really walk for like 7 years. Then I finally got stem cells in my spinal cord, and that helped a plethora of amount, and I stopped stuttering, all these other things. But my biggest thing is if we don't help these veterans, it's not just 22 a day that are committing suicide. It's first responders that are committing suicide. It's police officers that are my friends that are committing suicide. It's people that have this trauma that are embarrassed too. And I want to open this up to men as well and help them understand it is not your fault if things happen to you as well. And it is not an embarrassment. It is not something to feel guilty about. And I have helped many, 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 many men to understand this because they feel guilty or they feel ashamed or they begin to hate women or they even hate themselves. And mostly hate really comes from an anger point of view and anger is really just hurt and fear. If we all, get interconnected and realize like men are getting assaulted as well, and we don't talk about that enough, and boys are getting assaulted as well. And this whole human and sex trafficking is super important for me to help create awareness. And if people hate me, good. Hate me. Hate me for this reason, but I'm still gonna keep going. Yeah. Check. You know, I'm not gonna stop talking about it. I'm not gonna stop talking about my story. And I think that it's important and imperative that people understand that number one, it's not your fault. Number two, let's get you help. And then number three, make a difference. Like now that you've gotten the help and you're like where now that I am where I'm at now, I can help other people. You can't help other people from a lack. If you it's like putting on your oxygen mask in the airplane before you put your kids on, you know? You have to help yours first. If you're going in a burning building, you need your equipment. Well, let's get the equipment on for us. Yeah. Yeah, full woman. That's it. Yeah. Right, I'm like, we do care." Too many kids are getting trafficked, and it's human trafficking, really. You can call it whatever you want to, but there's sex trafficking or hu it's all human trafficking. Women, children, boys, girls, men, women, especially with this new AI going on. Right. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah. They're probably thinking like, "Is this guy mentally unstable or what's going on?" Right. Checks and balances. Nice. Jeez. Oh, wow. Are people doing it upside down? Do they not know that that's a distress symbol? Wow. Right. Good. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, it is. Right. Doesn't hurt to smile. Doesn't cost a thing either. Right. Wow. Can you explain what a bot farm is? Oh, okay. Oh, right. Right. Oh, I was called a racist, and I'm like, "No, that's I'm so far from a racist." I'm like, "Wait, who are you talking about, me?" And they got keyboard warriors out there. I didn't know that. Jeez Louise. Absolutely. Really. Wow. Yeah. It's all about the money, really, when it comes down to it. It's people making money to do disruption. Same thing with like the ICE situations and people creating a distraction for the cops, and so they can't do their job, and then the cops look bad, and it's just a mess. It's a hot mess right now. Well, and what people don't understand too is there's a paper trail when you guys put this stuff on media and you basically want to create harm or you're threatening me or threatening other people. There's a paper trail. So if something does happen, don't think that they're not going to know where it happened from. You're like dictating what's happening here, people. Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, no, they find you. That's what's called pinging. Ping. Yeah, right. Come at me. Send me So I'm on Facebook under Mindy Doherty, which is right there. And then on Instagram, I'm under Water Gypsy without the vowels. So WTRGPSY, because I'm a Watsu therapist and or Watsu practitioner, same thing. And I'm on, my professional sites are LinkedIn. I'm on TikTok. My YouTube is not so high because I just forgot about it. But mostly I follow it. Yeah, there you go. So, mostly Instagram and Facebook, though, are my biggest ones that I really do, and I think I'm almost up to, like, 10,000 on TikTok, but it's one of those things where I forget sometimes, and people, like, message me from there, and I answer all the messages. Every message I've ever gotten, I've pretty much answered, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you actually answered me." I'm like, "Yeah, you asked me a question." It's people just forget that, like, yes, I'm a human, and right, but I can only take so much, so when people are sending me, like, 50 reels, I might mute you, because I can't get through. I wanna get through things that are important, and I wanna get to the people that need help, so if you're sending me garbage, the garbage is gonna go in the trash. It's like asking for directions. Whereas I'm first like, "I'm lost, help me find somewhere." Yeah, say that link one more time. Can't wait for that. Yep. 5 bucks for coffee. I think there was like $8 the other day. Nice. Yeah, they need a purpose. And they need to know that they're not victims anymore, that we're actually survivors. I don't know, but when you say victim, it's like it gets my ears like, we're not victims anymore. Right. Well, we are victims at first, but then you become a survivor. Correct. Yes. Right. It's important that we have the right people. It is. That's why I don't follow mine anymore. Facebook and Instagram does the same thing somewhat too. We're making a difference. So I think my biggest call to action as well is trying to figure out how I can take my books and get an investor, a true investor, to make it into a story so that I can inspire people around the world instead of just here. And then also with my book, maybe make it into a cartoon so that children can understand it from a different point of view that can't read, or the people that can't write that are illiterate, because there's a lot of people that actually are very well uninformed and very uneducated, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge it because I didn't understand how to read. I have a lot of processing issues still that I'm working with. So I want to take my book and make it into a film or even like a TV series and make a change for people and inspire people from their homes or from their computers, or whatever their phones, whatever you're using. And, my book is available on walmart.com, Barnes and Noble, as well as Amazon. And it's A Dragon's Voice, and it looks like this. And then this one is called Resilient Warrior. Many different titles. There's The Resilient Warrior. That's an actual police officer. And he's, if you want that one, you get his book. But if you see my face, this one is the right one. And the money, I pretty much get a dollar book actually, so it's not that much, but it adds up at some point. And I'm in police departments right now. I'm in 6 different states so far. I'm trying to expand that. I'm trying to go anywhere I go. I bring my book and ask, hey, would you want to put this into your police department or your fire department or family advocacy groups or anywhere that I can get my book that'll make a difference? That's where I want to make a difference in my life, for my life, my story. And what I basically want to do as well is bring it to the White House and tell President Trump, we need to help our veterans get better medical care because we are lab rats right now. And I know people are going to get really mad, but there's also people that are going to be really happy that I said this, because I've gone to Congress multiple times and I've said we need change. And that's, pretty much in 2014, I opened up the biggest can of worms, and I was like, we need to get community service. So basically we're getting community care, not just because of me. Obviously there's plenty of other people that have jumped on the bandwagon. Great, jump on the bandwagon and let's make a difference. But collectively, let's make a difference in a bigger picture so that we are not in a situation where I was bedbound for so long because I couldn't get help. And the thing that people don't realize, and the biggest thing that they don't realize, is once you go to the VA hospital, I couldn't go to another hospital and get care because the doctors would have to take responsibility. If they took responsibility, they would have to actually see what went on, and they would have to basically document what they saw. Many doctors said no. Many lawyers were afraid. They were bullied and they were harassed, and all these other things that people just don't even comprehend at this point in time. And I'll get into that at another point in time. But I think it's really, really important that we help our veterans understand that gonna have it's gonna take us a lot. It's gonna take all of us, or at least a majority of us, to get on board and stop separating the gaps. Yes, go do your own program. That's great. I want you to do your own program. I want you to be independent. But I also want you to come together and stop fighting over left, right, top, bottom, whatever. Just come together collectively because we are humans. It's not even about just veterans at this point in time. It's humans. It's human trafficking, basically. It's child trafficking. We need to figure out how we can collectively come together and stop arguing about the other stuff. I don't care about the other stuff. I care about helping people. And that is why I think I was created. That's why I'm a nurse. I was a trauma nurse and then interventional radiology. I've been a medical researcher for 31 years now. I really genuinely want to help in the right way and not get convoluted into these other programs that people are talking about. I want to figure out a way to help people. So I'm really looking for investors that really want to take this book onto a different level and make it into a movie or television series so that we can make a difference. Yeah, you can message me and I'll send it to you. Creating a purpose. Yes. Thank you so much for having me on. I so appreciate it. That's right. Thank you. All right. See you soon.